Hello and welcome back to Star Citizen. My name is Evenlease, and today on 10 Minutes More or Less Ship Review, right behind me, the Aegis Redeemer, a gunship. Let's go ahead and take a look. All right, welcome back to another review, and thank you to the awesome team today with helping me review this ship, just basically allowing me to get all the best angles while the turret's being occupied, the ship's being lived in, and being flown really well, so I do appreciate that. Thank you guys. You all are truly amazing. Now, the Aegis Redeemer is a gunship, but does it live up to its name? Is it capable of doing anything as a stock ship? We're about to talk about that. This ship here is $330 if you're to buy it on the Pledge Store, or if you buy it in-game, it is $17,199,000 aUEC, which I'm going to tell you right now, that's a very steep price for what this ship can do for you, as over the past year and a half, this ship has been hammered down into a little rock compared to the big boulder it used to be. The damage output seems like it would be really high, but there's a lot of complications going on with this ship right now. The claim time, if you're to be taken out of the sky for some reason, because you have a lower health pool, you have a lower shield output, is 28 minutes and 21 seconds. It's pretty high up there. And then you have an expedited time of 9 minutes and 27 seconds, which is, again, pretty high up there when you're expediting a ship like this. And I feel like it just hasn't had its pass yet, because the TAC has a much smaller claim time, and ships that are bigger have much smaller claim times as well. It's pretty high up there. So hopefully we'll see a change to that soon. Now, the pilot does have control over some weapons, and it outputs 1,312 damage per second due to the two size 4 C788 ballistic cannon and the two size 3 M58 laser cannons, and then the pilot also has 16 size 2 Strike Force 2 missiles. Now, let's pause really quick. I want to talk about those C788 ballistic cannons. Completely bugged. They don't work. You shoot some ship with those things, you hit the shield, but it does not damage the hull. If you drop the shield on the ship, it does not damage the hull. There is no damage output against actual ship targets with those guns, so get them out of there as quickly as you can. Put some other size 4 guns on there, laser cannons or laser repeaters. Those would be good options, especially since the maneuverability of the ship has gone up a little bit over time, so that's kind of nice. Now, you do have 2 manned turrets with 4 size 4 AD-4B ballistic Gatling guns. Again, guns I would really rip off here right away and put some CF447s, just because you have a low ammo count, and right now, the ballistic penetration, all that doesn't really matter in 4.1.1. It might in 4.2, and it might, past then, we'll see. But as of right now, it's just not worth having the AD-4Bs with the low penetration value, the low damage value, as well as just the low amount of, ammo count. So definitely get rid of those as quickly as you can. And then you have a remote turret on the back of the ship with 2 size 3 M5A laser cannons, which is fine. I mean, it's up to you if you want laser cannons or laser repeaters. Both are pretty good options. If you're asking me, I'd put CFs all over this thing. The CF337s on the back, the front, CF447s. I would just deck the thing out in CFs because laser repeaters, you can't go wrong with. Yeah, you do just pure shield damage at first until that shield's dropped. But then once that happens, you output a good amount of damage, and at least it actually makes contact with the ship, which is nice. Now, moving past that, you do have 6 size 2 military grade C shield generators. You heard that right. 6 of them. This ship used to be a lot better in this regard because it used to be a quadrant shield. You used to have a lot more shield, but the shield strength on this thing has dropped down to 28,440 bubble shield. And you didn't hear that wrong. It is bubble shield, which is quite ridiculous. The second this ship starts getting hit, you start losing that shield really fast. And then you got to rely on your much smaller health pool that you have now, sitting at 66,700 ship HP, which you're like, whoa, that's really not that bad. It is. It's quite terrible because a lot of that is portioned off into your wings, your engines, all these extra parts on the ship. And so your hull strength and your nose strength is not that strong for a gunship meant to take a beating and, output a beating. So honestly, doesn't look good for this ship. It does not look good for this ship at all. As of right now, this ship does have a top SCM speed of 203 with a 400 forward boost, a 215 backwards boost with a top nav speed of 1050, with your pitch yaw roll being 32, 32, 115, which is really good. And then boosted, it's 38, 38, 138. So that is your stock Redeemer maneuverability and speed, which is honestly not terrible. Being at 203 is definitely not bad at all. But then now you have flight blades that are available or were available and will be available again in game soon, which the first one is the Redeemer B for Bravo, giving you a total SCM speed of 195, 390 forward boost, 210 backwards boost, a top nav speed of 1030, and your pitch yaw roll moves up to 33, 33, 117 with a boosted 40, 40, 140. So that's your maneuverability blade, and it looks fantastic. I love that. So if you want a little bit more maneuverability and less speed, that's the way to go. And then you have the Redeemer TSB blade, which gives you a top speed of 213, a 410 forward boost, a 225 backwards boost with a top nav speed of 1075. And then it drops your maneuverability down a little bit to 31, 31, 113 with a top boosted as 37, 37, 136. So definitely a little bit less maneuverability, but much greater speed, which again, it all depends on how you want to fly the ship, but both great options once they're available in game. Now, here is another kicker to this ship. You have pretty much no countermeasures. You have 25 flares and 10 noise. That is ridiculous. This is a combat, it's a combat gunship. I almost said dropship, but it's a combat gunship with no way to defend itself against a missile attack after you eject, 2 salvos of flares. Then you're done. It's not good. You have 66 SCU of hydrogen fuel and 1.8 SCU of quantum fuel. Again, a ship like this with an interior, beds, food, storage, all this kind of stuff, and you're sitting here with 1.8 SCU of quantum fuel. Please bring this over 3 SCU because as of right now, 1.8. Definitely not worth it. And I think that's honestly really low for what this ship is supposed to be, capable of doing. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the interior of the ship. And you do have the ability to carry some SCU of cargo, surprisingly. You can carry up to 2 SCU of cargo with this ship. This is the entry to the ship here. There is only one way to get on this ship, and it's this back ramp here, which loves to bug out and show up like a little black door there. It's very common with a lot of these ships that this happens, but this one is definitely... it happens a little bit more often. So we're going to go ahead and drop this door down for the interior here. And as you'll see, we do have quite the crew amount on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you kind of a look here in third person, and we'll get rid of some of that, crew name stuff going on there. And hopefully we won't jump around too much. But once we get in here, I'm going to show you some things from the interior, from the bottom floor to the top floor, and how I kind of think the layout should change when that becomes an option someday. So first, when you get in, your doors open, and there's still just a lot of name tags. I love that everybody was here to help me out. So I do apologize for the name tags, but every time I try to turn them off, it doesn't work. So that's just kind of too bad. Now you close this door and then you are in your ship. There's no components here on the interior of the ship. It is not like a Vanguard in that regard. But you go through this initial door here and then you look to your left. This is where you're going to hold the 2 SCU of cargo. So you can put 2 SCU cargo boxes here, which is honestly really cool. It really is cool. And I wish this was more something you'd see on a lot of these bigger, heavier ships, these smaller, bigger, heavier ships. And then you have a wardrobe locker here, which if you pull that open, it's just where you'd hang your clothes, your armor, and there's 4 of them. So you got 1, 2 over here, and then 2 over there. And then right underneath each wardrobe locker, you do have storage. So if you were to open this up underneath any one of them, which was working for me earlier, there we go, that would allow you to store some things on the ship, which is really nice. I do like that it has those. 4 of those as well, 1 under each locker. And then right over here to the right, you do have a nice bathroom with a nice little sink, little med kit. You know, you got a shower, you can just stand here and take a shower. And then you also have, of course, your toilet for those emergency situations, which will happen at least once a day. So, and if you have coffee, maybe more than that. So I'm going to go ahead and close that door. Now, if we make our way through here, you do have 4 beds for your crew. You have one here, one down there, which is currently occupied with someone taking a nice nap, which is nice. And then you have 2 over here, which is pretty nice too. When you get in here, it does close a glass door. So it's going to give you a little bit of privacy and also scare the heck out of you if you're claustrophobic at all. So get ready for that. And potentially these are escape pods too. So yeah, it's going to be a very fun journey. And then if you continue on here, you do have a nice kitchenette area with a fridge down below, which is, it comes stock with stuff too. So this normally comes stock with a ton of stuff. You can see there's some stuff behind the door there. And then you have some, you know, storage shelf here with some storage boxes, coffee maker, food maker, all that kind of stuff, processing unit. And then if you make your way to the right here, you do have the ladder. So this is how you get to the second stage of the ship, where you're going to have the pilot seat and all your gun seats all up here. So you have 4 rifles sitting here. This is a weapons rack. You can fit 4 rifles. That's it. No heavy weapons, no handguns, nothing else. It's just 4 heavy weapons, or not heavy weapons, 4 rifles, and that's all you're going to fit on this ship. And then you have 4 drop seats here, which is quite interesting. Some people say, well, this is just for the crew when you're not manning the guns, which is very potentially possible. Or you could use this as a special forces type ship where you have the guns manned and you have 4 people sitting in these seats here, dropping them into battle. And this is where I kind of want to talk to you about the layout of the ship. They really need to swap this to the bottom. You put this on the bottom, you bring up the living area up here, allowing you to have a little bit more of a comfort of bringing a crew, special forces crew out like this, and then having to go down a ladder and everything. It's just kind of annoying. But if you are just using it for your onboard crew, it's not bad because all your seats for the turrets are up here. So that kind of makes sense in a way. But then again, you have a crew of 4, right? No, it's 5. You have a pilot and 4 gunners. You have a pilot, and then you have 2 remote gunners and 2 manned gunners, which begs the question of, there's not a 5th seat out here. Obviously, you got the pilot, which is fine. You only got 4 beds and 4 lockers, 4 storage lockers, 4 rifles. So 5th guy is just going to be stuck behind that pilot seat no matter what you do. Now, if you make your way through this door here, go ahead and open this up really quick. This is one of your turret occupation areas right at the top here. You would go ahead and enter via this panel. You just press F and enter that turret. Now, if you look to your left and you look to your right, this is where 99% of your components are housed, right here in this room. So it's quite the room to be in if you're getting targeted by a size 5 ballistic gun. You're going to be in some trouble because they're just going to knock everything out in one strafe of this ship, which is honestly too bad, but we'll see how that works. And then if you make your way back through this door, of course, you cross over where we've already been, and you're going to make your way to a couple more component areas. One here, life support, gravity generator, both locked, can't get into them. And then you have your nice radar station here with a lower turret access point right here, goes through that door there. And then right here you have 2 remote turrets, one to your left and one to your right, which looks really good. And then, of course, your pilot seat, which I'm going to go ahead and hop into the pilot seat really quick and give you an angle of what this looks like out the cockpit. And then we'll go ahead and look at some battle scenes, first person, third person, and we'll talk about that after that. So let's take a look here. There's some struts in the way, and then you have this big old panel right above you, so you're not going to have too much visibility outside of this windshield for a combat I almost said drop ship again. There's seats in the back, they keep getting me. But for a combat ship like this, that is honestly too bad. Wish always for a little bit more window space, but this isn't terrible. I've seen worse. And then let's talk about the power systems really quick. I don't usually bring this up, but it's just terrible. This power system, I have full strength to my guns. I can't get my shields to full strength. I have nothing in my coolers. I mean, you need to upgrade power systems right away. You need to get rid of the ballistics, and you just need to pray that you don't die the first time you go out in this thing. So let's take a look at that combat footage and then talk about that for a second with my score. At this point, we were drawn into a very long and frustrating battle between the Redeemer and a Caterpillar, to where the Redeemer actually had to leave the scene due to running out of ballistics and the Caterpillar just being relentless. It actually took down the shields and started to damage the Redeemer quite dramatically. No matter what the Redeemer, which is fully occupied, did, the battle was ending up a loss on the Redeemer side, so they left to go repair and rearm at that point. Let's go ahead and take a look at a first-person video as well. All right, as you can see, this ship struggled greatly. Like, it shouldn't take that long to take out a Cutlass. You should definitely not have any trouble taking out a Caterpillar. There's a lot of ships out there that should have, they shouldn't be nearly as complicated to take out with a ship like this as this ship, as you saw right there. It's unbelievable, honestly, that this ship had so many struggles with the Cutlass, the Caterpillar, and every other ship that it fought. It just took a long time for something that should have an immense amount of firepower, which it supposedly does, but you just don't see it because ballistics, they are, you got a lot less damage coming out of them right now. They don't do much, and the ballistic cannons on this thing don't even work. So that's really, honestly, too bad. With that, my score for this ship is a 60 out of 100 due to the firepower being somewhat lacking for a whole ballistics package. You're just not going to do as much damage as you're hoping. If you're looking at that 4,196 number out of those ballistic guns, drop that down by 60%, and now you got your real number, right? You're looking at like 1,200 damage out of your turrets because the shields and everything else, it just takes away from that, physicalized bullet damage, which is just too bad as of right now. Until we start seeing some more penetration values and stuff, that's just how it's going to be. Your missile payload is a little low, a little small on the missile payload. Shield strength, health pool, that's all been just ripped apart. Does not look great, so not liking that either. Your speed and maneuverability are really good, and your living quarters is nice, but your countermeasures and your fuel, I mean, I don't even know. It's just honestly too bad, the state of this ship, and I hope that we can get a nice fresh look at some of its numbers, and they can kind of fix this over the next patch or two to help bring this ship back alive. And if you're going to ask me on how you would do that, honestly, well, making the guns work for one, but let's bring the health pool to about 110, okay, 110,000 with about a 40 to 50,000 quadrant shield, and you'd be good right there, because you already downgraded the weapons, and I just feel like it needs a bit more strength, a little bit more resilience to firepower as well. Otherwise, let me know what you think of the ship down in the comments below. How would you change this ship to better it for the future of Star Citizen? Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you to my supporters and everybody that joins me in the reviews and watching it. You guys are all truly amazing. And make sure you enter the giveaway that's going on right now. It's a pretty awesome one. Check my channel. It's a video or two down below me. So thanks for being here, and you guys all have a great one.